for today comes to us from the book of Ezra, in the 3rd chapter, a short passage of a significant moment. I'll be reading those words in yellow and invite you to read aloud the words in white. When the builders laid the foundation of the temple of the Lord, the priests in their vestments and their trumpets, and the Levites, the sons of Asaph, with cymbals, took their places to praise the Lord, as prescribed by David, king of Israel.
With praise and thanksgiving, they sang to the Lord. He is good. His love toward Israel endures forever. And all the people gave a great shout of praise to the Lord, because the foundation of the house of the Lord was laid.
They gathered and they sang songs of praise and they shouted according to the direction of David, king of Israel, the prince of Judah, who had been dead 500 years. When you look at the real needs of real people in the world, it's true that some people just don't know what they are. It's true that some people don't care to know what they are. It's true that some people know but don't care. It's true that some people know and care but don't know what to do. It's true that some people know and care and know what to do but don't do anything. It's certainly true that some people know and care and know what other people should be doing to fix it. And then there is the rare commodity of those who see and know and care and know what to do and do it. Ezra seems to have been one of these kind of men. Virtually unknown to us 21st century Christians. Most of us probably wouldn't have identified it as the name of a book in the Bible. A small passage, really just stuck in there with Nehemiah in the early history, well, the late of the history books, before the great prophets. Ezra lived about 2,500 years ago and was raised in Babylon. Most likely his grandparents or great-grandparents had once lived in Jerusalem. Probably they were there when the Babylonian army came in and simply devastated Judah. It wasn't much of a fight at all. The countryside overwhelmed the city of Jerusalem. The walls destroyed, the city destroyed, the temple destroyed. Anybody who had any real ability to build a sense of community, anybody who had any real talents and leadership, were hauled off back to Babylon. The rabble left behind in Palestine. It had been 70 years of captivity. 70 years of what we call the Babylonian exile. But in truth, it was just those people who had lived in Jerusalem who were in exile. The great-grandparents and maybe the children they took with them when they were forced marched to Babylon. They had been exiled. The people who would have been living in Babylon in Ezra's day, well, at the very best, they would have known stories of what Judah was. At best, they would have had some probably reluctant memories of the stories that Grandpa told of what it meant to be a Jew. At worst, they would have been completely clueless of their own heritage, their identity, their history, their calling from God. But somehow, even in exile, somehow even the children of the exiles, some of them kept the story alive, not in books, not in video, but in stories around the table, in gatherings around the fire, in moments when 2 or 3 could gather and retell the history. But as a people, they no longer existed. Back in the homeland, for those of them who had a sense of where it might be, there was no Judaism. There was no organization. There was no structure. There were no rituals. There were no traditions that identified them as anything other than the inhabitants of the land. The long-standing people of Jewish blood had intermarried with so many of the other area residents that there was no true blood anymore. And they certainly had no temple. They didn't even have Jerusalem. They had no ritual. Judaism was dead. Now along comes Ezra. Ezra, a nobody to us, but in some circles he's known as the father of Judaism. In some circles, lifted up right up alongside Moses in prominence. Because Ezra saw the need of the people, and he cared about the need of the people, and he knew what to do, and he did it. Now, as with virtually any history, but particularly biblical history, it's virtually impossible to really get a grasp of the chronology. Ezra and Nehemiah were both prominent somehow in the years of rebuilding Jerusalem and the wall and the temple, but we can't really tell who came first or whether they were at the same time. Scholars are completely at odds about being able to identify those things, but we do know the tradition tells us that Ezra was the one who went back to Jerusalem, to the area, and he built the people of God. He taught them afresh the Torah, the first 5 books. Remember, this is also about the time that Leviticus, that had been altered and translated and revised over centuries, finally came into its final form. That's no coincidence. Traditions were reestablished. The law was proclaimed again. And Ezra went so far as to require men of Jewish descent to divorce their non-Jewish wives and marry Jewish women. An almost atrocity in our eyes, but he was trying to build an identity. we will become a people again built around the revelation of God and the Torah. We will become God's people again. Nehemiah apparently had already begun the project of rebuilding the city. Ezra comes along later with more people, and Nehemiah's progress has stalled. And we see what is also a rare commodity in people. An eagerness, an enthusiasm, a joy, a passion to go and build something from nothing. Almost lost in modern society, where we expect everything to be waiting for us, handed to us. These people left Babylon not to go to their homeland, but to go to their great-grandparents' homeland. It'd be like me returning to Ireland, though I've never been. And my family has been born in the U.S. for 3 generations. To go back there, not to visit, not to take the tour bus, but to go and build a city, to rebuild an identity. To start all over. Something that has been lost. In modern society, we're never even willing to admit that something's been lost. That something is over, that something is past. So how can we ever start over again? But they went with this passion, not to be blessed, not to be served, not to be catered to, not to be pleased, but to work hard, maybe harder than they've ever worked in their entire lives. Not for wages, but for spiritual satisfaction, for inner fulfillment and service, not only to God, but to their people, not only to their people, but to the heritage that would be built upon the foundation of what they were doing. Ezra helped them not just lay the foundation of the temple, not just lay the foundation for the wall. He helped them lay the foundation for Judaism, for faith, a faith that has survived bitter persecution, near annihilation, and often at the hands of Christian people. They built a foundation based upon hard work, upon a common identity, upon a willingness to accept that there is a higher calling, a higher purpose, a higher power, something more important than their personal pleasure and selfish drives. It'd be such a difficult project to recruit people for today. Let's go and make hard sacrifices, take on difficult challenges for someone else, for the future, for something bigger than us. By establishing this foundation, regardless of what corruption might occur in Judaism later, what corruption might occur in Christianity that was born out of Judaism, at the very core, on the foundation, was this willingness to put yourself out there. I came across this passage in Ezra very simply as I was preparing for these last 3 Sundays in November. I just did a word search. Where do you find the word Thanksgiving? And it appears not necessarily chronologically when the events occur, but in the order of the books in the Bible as they occur. So the first one came in Leviticus, and we talked about that, how as the people of God were first being formed, Thanksgiving was part of their core culture. The second time we read it comes to us in Ezra as they sing songs of thanksgiving when the foundation of the temple is being laid. Both of them occasions where the foundation of faithfulness was being established. And so perhaps the lesson for us as 21st century Christianity is totally absorbed in self-interest and personal preferences and numbers and buildings and entertainment and everything else. When we're either so proud of ourselves because we're growing so quickly, or we're so embarrassed that we're shrinking so fast. Perhaps the real measure is to look at the foundation of who we are. A thankful people, a people built upon the foundation of sacrifice and service. If we can continue to find that in ourselves and our congregation, that's where we start to build. Let us pray. As they gathered in worship in Jerusalem, so very long ago they sang songs and celebrated you, O God, the God who is good all the time, whose faithfulness endures forever. Since that day, up to this very day, in this very place, your people gather and celebrate your steadfast love. We sing songs of praise. We rejoice with grateful hearts that you remain to be good to us. And so we pray that that goodness be ever more revealed to us, that we see it more clearly, feel it more powerfully, that we experience it completely, that it heal us and inspire us and enable us to see how we are to live and what we are to do with who we are and what we have and what you can do in us. You are good all the time, God. We're grateful for that. And we look forward to the ways in which it will continue to be revealed in us through Christ our Lord.